Imagine you're walking alone down a quiet street. No footsteps behind you, no cars passing, no sounds except your own breathing. And there on the sidewalk, a wallet. You pick it up, you open it, cash inside. No ID, no phone number, no clue who it belongs to. You look around, nobody. No eyes on you, no cameras, no consequences. Just you and a choice that could disappear into the dark without a trace. That simple moment, one you could walk away from without anyone ever knowing, tells you something truthful about yourself. Something deeper than any reputation or public image. It tells you who you are when everything performative is stripped away. Because the honest truth is this: what you do when no one is watching reveals more than any spotlight ever could. And this entire video is about that version of you, the private, unfiltered one that exists when applause, judgment, and comparison go silent. As we move deeper into this idea, there is something worth saying first. Trying to be a good person is not the same thing as trying to look like one. We live in a culture obsessed with visibility. Every good deed becomes a post. Every kind gesture becomes content. Every moment of compassion turns into an opportunity for attention. And when we keep repeating that pattern, something strange and subtle happens. We start caring more about how our actions appear than what they actually mean. We start shaping our morality around what will be admired rather than what is right. But here is the truth most people avoid. The world might applaud the image of goodness, but only you know whether it came from your heart or from your hunger for validation. Those small unseen moments, returning the card at the store, cleaning up a mess you didn't make, helping someone with no desire for credit, those are the moments that build the real foundation of your moral self. And when you think about it, it becomes clearer. The person you turn into when no one else can see you is the most honest version of you. Every human being carries two versions of themselves. There is the public version, the one that remembers social rules, tries to stay polite, and avoids saying the wrong thing. That version smiles when required, listens when expected, and behaves in ways that keep the peace. But there is another side, the private self, the one that steps out when the door closes and the noise fades, the one that makes choices with no witnesses. This version doesn't care about likes or praise. This version doesn't adjust itself to fit anyone's expectations. This version is real. If you want to understand your character, watch yourself in those quiet moments. Do you follow rules when breaking them would be easier? Do you keep promises when no one else remembers them? Do you act with kindness when it brings you no reward? Do you stay honest when lies would protect your pride? Those private choices reveal the moral backbone you rely on, even when you don't realize it. And if we dig a little deeper into this, something else becomes clear. We care so much about being seen because we were built that way. Humans are social creatures. Thousands of years ago, acceptance meant survival. Being rejected meant danger. That instinct still lives inside us, long after the world around us changed. Today we have social media, cameras everywhere, eyes evaluating us constantly. We're being watched and judged more than ever, even for things that used to be private. So it makes sense that we cling to reputation. But reputation isn't the same as character. And when we begin choosing actions based on attention rather than integrity, we drift into a strange and hollow way of living. We may look good on the outside, but inside we start to feel disconnected from who we really are. This is why we need to ask ourselves, not how do others see me, but what kind of person am I becoming in the quiet spaces of my life? Once you understand that, another truth becomes almost impossible to ignore. Doing the right thing with no reward attached is the hardest test of morality. Anyone can be generous when others are watching. Anyone can be patient in front of an audience. Anyone can pretend to be brave when cameras are rolling. But when no one sees you, and no one will praise you, and no one will reward you, that's when your real values show themselves. This kind of goodness is not glamorous. It doesn't get shared, it doesn't get claps, it doesn't build a following, but it builds something far more important, a conscience you can live with. And even though we rarely think about it, those quiet tests show up all the time in everyday life. Maybe it looks like resisting the urge to gossip when the person isn't around. Maybe it's not cutting corners on work no one monitors. Maybe it's choosing not to take something you weren't given. Maybe it's telling the truth when the lie would be painless. Maybe it's showing kindness to someone who can't help you back. None of these moments feel life-changing individually. Most are so small, you forget them within minutes. But the truth is, these tiny decisions shape the architecture of your character. Every shortcut weakens something inside you. Every honest choice strengthens something. Over time, you either become someone you trust or someone you avoid confronting. And what makes all these small decisions powerful is this: real virtue does not need an audience to exist. Think about the people you admire in your life. Not celebrities, not influencers, ordinary people. Often the people with the strongest characters are not flashy or loud. They just quietly do the right thing over and over, even when it's inconvenient. They aren't trying to be heroes. They aren't trying to look impressive. They are simply living by principles that matter to them. That kind of goodness does not sparkle on camera, but it shines in the places that matter, in families, friendships, communities, and the private moments of everyday life. But you should always keep in mind, when you focus too much on performing goodness, you can slowly lose track of who you really are. You begin to wear a mask for so long that it becomes difficult to take it off. You start shaping your identity around how others react to you instead of what you believe. You start confusing praise with purpose. And one day, you look in the mirror and feel a little unfamiliar to yourself. Not because you changed suddenly, but because your inner self was ignored for so long that it faded behind the performance. When your worth depends on being admired, your identity becomes fragile. One negative comment can crumble it. One mistake can ruin it. One moment of weakness can expose it. But when your worth depends on your values, your identity becomes strong from the inside out. And something beautiful happens when you reach that place. You gain the freedom that comes from not needing an audience. Imagine making choices without caring how they'll be judged. Imagine doing the right thing because it feels right in your soul. Imagine trusting yourself so deeply that you no longer need validation from anyone. That freedom is rare, but it's available to anyone who builds their character in private. You become emotionally grounded. You become harder to manipulate. You become harder to discourage. You become more confident, not because others believe in you, but because you believe in who you are when no one is watching. That kind of confidence cannot be faked. It cannot be bought. It cannot be taken away. But to reach that inner strength, you have to face something challenging. Sometimes the private version of yourself is someone you don't fully trust. Maybe you cut corners too often. Maybe you lie when you think it won't matter. Maybe you choose comfort over honesty. Maybe you have habits you hide. Maybe your actions don't match your values when no one is around. And admitting this can feel uncomfortable. But that discomfort is the doorway to becoming someone stronger. You cannot grow from a version of yourself you refuse to look at. When you are honest about who you are behind closed doors, you give yourself the chance to choose differently. And that choice is where transformation begins. Becoming a person you can trust in the dark doesn't happen with dramatic gestures. It happens through small, steady practices repeated over time. Do one quiet good thing every day, something no one knows about. Tell the truth when lying would save you trouble. Keep personal promises even when no one checks. Act with patience even when the world gives you excuses to snap. Let go of anger privately without expecting praise for being forgiving. These aren't grand acts, but they create a deep and unshakable foundation inside you. But you should also always remember, Your private morality shapes the entire world, even if no one sees it happen. It shapes how you raise your children, how you speak to your partner, how you treat strangers, how you handle responsibility, how you respond to conflict, how you carry yourself in the darkest moments of your life. The invisible parts of your character drive the visible outcomes of your life. When you choose integrity in private, the world around you becomes stronger because of it, even if no one knows why. So let's come back to that moment on the quiet street. The world in your hand, the empty space around you, the complete freedom to do whatever you want. What you choose in that silence is who you are. Not the smile in your photos, not the quotes you post, not the image you show the world. The real you is built in private. And when you build that version with honesty, courage, and kindness, you carry a strength that no reputation can imitate. So ask yourself, honestly and quietly, what would you do if no one was watching? And is that the person you want to be? Because the world might never know the answer, but you will, and that makes all the difference.